Move and wazza to the Movecast. Today we have none other than Will with us, a true legend from the movement ecosystem. Hey Will, how is it going? How are you doing?
It's going good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so to start with our session today, Will, give us a little introduction into your person. How did you come to crypto? What was your way to start at the movement?
Yeah, so taking a step back, I've worked in a few different industries. I think I can kind of take you back to the beginning of like my road into Web3 and blockchain, which is around like 2016. Um, I was introduced to kind of the Ripple and the like the Stellar Lumen slash XRP world of digitization of finance. And what I saw was like, there's migrant families who are trying to send money cross borders. There's people that are trying to transact, across nation, and it's incredibly expensive. And most of the people that are trying to do this, the percentages that they're taking on the money is quite devastating financially. So when I saw this, ability to basically send money with fractions of a cost, I was like, oh, this is going to put Western Union out of business, and this is going to make people's lives easier. So I thought it was quite radical in a positive way. So I got into the industry around 2016, started to kind of, invest a little bit here and there, speculative, degen. But I was fascinated by it. And I was at Sony at the time. So I'm pitching the technology to Sony and I'm getting laughed at offices. Like people were like, this is insane. This is a scam. This is a grift. I mean, we've all heard it. So I was a little bit jaded, left Sony, went to the TV and film industry. Same thing. I was pitching to them as a tool for artists to go direct to their consumers, direct to their fans. But it just wasn't, the message wasn't resonating at the time. And then I went to the government, tried to do the same at the Senate of California, and people were just resistant. So 2020, around the time of COVID, the NFT boom starts going, and all these conversations that I had 2016, 18, 20, now they started to listen. They're like, oh, we just saw these bored apes, go from, nothing to something. All of a sudden, artists are making money. People are being financially liberated through this technology. So a lot of those conversations came back around. And so I started to work in the industry full time, started doing some consulting, some advising, content creation. And that led me to Consensus in Austin, where I met Cooper, and he pitched me on the movement. And I was just, it's what I've always wanted to work on, infrastructure that can democratize and decentralize. The move language is fascinating, and it's, powerful, and it's a great programming language that solves for issues that exist in the industry. So it reminded me of my beginning journey, and that's kind of how we started and where we got to today.
Amazing. So, yeah, it's coming back again to Austin. We had also one episode with Used Towels, who met you in Austin as well, I think. I think it
Yeah, man,
was,
a year
yeah,
later.
yeah. So it's crazy to see how stuff gets connected after a while.
Hmm.
And yeah, you just already mentioned movement has like some special requirements or special yeah, setting which attracted you. Could you maybe give us more insights? What exactly like fascinated you about movement?
Yeah. So taking a step back, when I started to learn more about the industry, obviously, like, started with the Stellar Lumens and the, XRPs and the Litecoins of the world. But I quickly was fascinated by Ethereum and what that was enabling. And so I was like, I don't want to say I was an ETH maxi by any means. Like I'm a people maxi. I'm not a chain maxi. But I think what happened was I met Cooper and he expressed to me, what Move would enable, right? Like things like reentrancy attacks, things like safety, speed, and cost, which are very important problems to solve, inherently are solved through this programming language called Move. And it was like Facebook basically saved the industry years and billions of dollars of R&D by creating this programming language. And so him and Rushi, his co-founder, he was like, this language is incredible, and it hasn't really taken off yet. Like we see Solana as this ecosystem that's derived from the Rust language. And basically Coop's thesis was this is going to be the next evolution of this industry, and it's going to be powered by Move. And so that just, enthralled me. Also, I'm really big on people, and Cooper just had such a light to him and such an excitement, and what he was trying to achieve with it. I think that's kind of, you know, I don't want to, not in a hubris way, but it reminded me of Vitalik coming through and being like, this is going to change. We're going to use this language called Solidity. We're going to build this thing called Ethereum. We're going to change the world. That was the vibe I was getting from Cooper when I met him. So, and I was always waiting for someone like that. So that's kind of, I was more convinced by Coop than Move, but Move made it easy.
Nice, nice. Yeah, great story. And yeah, besides like the coding language Move, I mean, which is obviously the basis for everything. What would you say would be the core mission, or what does Movement want to change in the blockchain landscape so
Yeah,
far?
I mean, I think it's two main solves that we're aiming to do, right? It's like, one is we want to bring Move to Ethereum and beyond. So first case is, we want to enable this speed, the cost saving, and the security of the Move language. We want to bring that to Ethereum, because things like the EVM, it's like you wouldn't use a Windows 2000 in 2024. And I hate to call the EVM Windows 2000, but like, you upgrade operating systems based on the time that you're in. And I think the time that we're in, the Move VM is going to solve for issues that exist with the EVM. So that's kind of the first point. And then the second point is, like, we have these incredible ecosystems through Aptos and Suite that exist natively, powered by Move. And we want to bring the users and the liquidity that exist outside in other ecosystems to Move as well. So it's like, bring Move to the people, bring the people to Move. I think that's really the power of the movement. And then, it's just empower the users and go back to decentralization. Let people make the decisions for themselves, be self-sovereign and self-governing. I think that's kind of the longer roadmap mission. And we try it with things like regional explorers. Let the people do it for themselves.
Nice, yeah. What I'm often asked is what is movement at all? Do you have something like a easy, understandable comparison or something you use for movement? Or
Yeah, I
like,
would say it's a scaling solution and a developer platform.
okay, yeah, I'm sometimes using like the comparison. I'm not sure if that's your time as well, but like in the very beginnings of YouTube, the everything was coded in the Flash player. So yeah, you always were using this super slow and not really secure Flash player, which was actually one of the biggest attack vectors at that time. And after some time, everything changed to HTML5. Um, yeah, and sometimes people can understand it that way. So I thought maybe,
That's a great analogy. I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, one of the wonderful problems that we have to solve for is we have such a wide array of audience that has like varying levels of education in this industry. So some people, I might describe it like, this is the fastest like ETH L2 in production. For some people, I'm like, this is bringing Move to ETH and beyond. Some people, I'm saying it's a scaling solution and the developer platform because they don't know anything about Web3. Um, it just depends on the audience that you're talking to. And then in some angles, right, like, it's about the community empowerment, and it's a community first chain. So I think the movement, one of the things I love about it is kind of like, you can make for it what you want. There are people in the Discord that may have never used, experience building the Parthenon. They might never have done a transaction on testnet. So for them, it's a Discord community. And then for some people, they only go to the spaces. So it's it's a talk show. I mean, that's
yeah,
the power of the movement.
yeah. Some people only even go to maybe the real life events. So I think even that's one case.
Some people, it's an events company. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just, it is what you make it. It's a movement.
yeah, and the name fits perfectly so well. So um, yeah. And did you also have a look into the other projects which use already the Move language, like Sui and Aptos? Or
Yeah. So unlike Rushi and Coop, I wasn't like a Move maxi. Like, I didn't come from the Move ecosystem. I'm not a builder by trade. These hands don't code. So, I kind of went off what they were telling me, but as I joined Movement and as I became kind of immersed in this industry, I started to meet the teams, and I mean, they're brilliant. I've spoken a lot with the Aptos team more. I've gotten some time with Sui, but not nearly as much. And they're just some of the most brilliant minds in this industry. Some of them even built the language itself. So, and on both teams, on Aptos and Sui. So, yeah, I mean, shout out to Aptos and Sui. Shout out to all Move ecosystem. I mean, we're in it together. That's also what I think is so powerful too. Is like it's one of the most adopted programming languages to date, and it continues to be more adopted. I think it's the Electric Capital put out a study on this. But I'm paraphrasing. I could have just misnomered them, so apologies if I said their name wrong. But it's developers see the beauty of this language, so it is attracting this incredible talent. Um, so I think yeah, it's just the opportunities are limitless because of the people that are building here.
Yeah. And how, in which way can movement add to those projects? Like, are they missing out on the community, or is it something different?
Yeah, I think well, so a couple different ways. One is, Aptos powered they created the Move VM that we're operating with. So like I like to say, without Move, there is no movement. So without Aptos and Sui, movement doesn't exist, right? Like
No.
there's just let's start there. The
Yeah.
second level of that is like we've looked at this from a couple of different angles. The main one being these projects, these builders, and these ecosystems, they're either missing on a certain area, they're suffering a certain situation, and how can we help facilitate their growth for them to build what they want to build? And that's where it becomes like the developer platform, right? So I'll give a couple examples. One is when it comes to like the Move Collective, for example. So here were some incredible builders from the Move ecosystem that were building incredible products, but that were having difficulty getting their raise kind of to where they wanted to get it. I think to date we've helped raise something like 12.5 million. I might even be off. It might be closer to 15 now. But these builders had the idea. It's like we didn't come up with the idea; they came up with it. It's a strong idea. They got a strong team. They just needed intros and help kind of getting over the finish line. So we provided them that support. Then there's other teams like Mosaic, for example, where they had serious product, but they didn't have the community. And then we have, a small country of like 800,000 people in our Discord that are looking for more quality projects. And so we just bootstrap them with a community. Now I think that there's something, they have tens of thousands, if not 100 something thousand followers now. Because again, it's not like we did anything prolific. They did the work. We're just introducing people. So I think that's kind of the role that movement really plays is like we're a shepherd for the move language. We're a stepping stone. So when people want to learn about this industry, they can come to the movement and we can show them these are where the great builders are. These are where the great teams are. This is where the best community is. It's called the movement. These are the gorillas. This is where the vibes are. And then let people decide, what direction they want to go. Are they interested in AI? Are they interested in DPIN? Are they interested in DeFi or GameFi? Are they interested in social fi? And then we have community members who can show them their way and builders who can, build the products that they want to use.
Perfect. Yeah, for me that connects perfectly to what you said in the beginning, that you are building on the people. So yeah, I think that leads us already to the next topic I want to cover with you. It's the maybe most important part, the community, because as we already saw in different other um, Movecast episodes, we saw communities like a very huge role in the movement ecosystem. And Will, maybe you can tell us how movement is building on the community and how movement is engaging with its community.
Yeah, I mean, I think well, first of all, for me, like I started my career and continue to have my career be based around people. So the most important thing to me at the end of the day is always going to be community. It's always going to be the people because none of this works without people. Like all this move, all this ETH, all this everything, it means nothing if there's no people to build it, and it means nothing if there's no air for us to breathe. So like we're in this together, and that was kind of the idea that I sold Rushi and Cooper on. Like I'm a community builder. I'm an advocate. I've been an activist my whole life. So I come from a place of grassroots community building, and I think we have a community that is so pure hearted and so kind of sharing in a common interest. And that was kind of the one of the founding ethoses of the movement, is that we're a community first chain. So the first way that starts is we're onboarding an ecosystem, we're introducing them to wonderful builders, and growing the community and showing the community that we move in an authentic and an honest way. And then the next step is to not just say that, but then prove it with action. So we started to roll out guilds and community programs to allow people to kind of run the movement for themselves. So there's a various guilds that demonstrate this. There's the Creators Guild, the Spartans Guild, Pathfinders, Explorers. You can look into this if you go to our Discord if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sure many people listening already do. But essentially, there's X number of different people in this industry that we all share a common interest, but we express it in different ways. So I express it in community building and marketing. Rushi expresses it in a Giga Brain, Giga Chad developer marketing way. You express it in a creating of content in a community building way. Um, Brian, our head of engineering, product strategy, Chad, expresses it in this, computer science and operation oriented way. Tarab expresses it in a DeFi BD way, right? Like we have different modes of expression. And so that's kind of the foundation of the guilds. And then we allow people to go out and express that uniqueness of their own greatness in their way. So regional explorers, for example, we empower them to go throw your own events, right? Spartans, go create and show people how you're farming this, or how you're creating, your own wealth generation, and what are the guides that you have to express that. So we just wanted to create an environment where like everybody that exists in this industry can participate in movement and feel like they're a co-owner in this. Whether they're a builder, whether they're a content creator, whether they're an artist, there's room for all of us. So that's kind of the thought process there.
Yeah, and I think that worked out pretty awesome. Um, as you said already, with only with when you look on the guilds, it's an amazing job you did. But besides that, we also saw stuff coming up like the GorillaMoverz. Um, and I think they are mostly known for their playful approach, like bananas, booty shaking, and so on. And do you have an idea why, like, this playful approach resonates that well with the crypto space?
Well, I think there's a degree of which like you can plan as much as you want, but there's always going to be a degree of like spontaneous creation. And I think the gorillas are a result of that, right? Like we didn't encourage that. That was like totally autonomous. Like we just created a community, and then the community created its own community. And that's like creation begets creation. I think that in itself is one of the greatest examples of like us having succeeded, is that the community is taking it and running with it in their own way. Like we could shepherd things with guilds as much as we want, but it's going to be on the individuals to really take it where they want to go. And I think the gorillas is a prime example of individuals who are like, oh wait, here's an opportunity. We have a unique gathering place where we can all meet. Why don't we run with this and make our own thing? So shout out to the gorillas for seizing an opportunity for themselves. That's what it's all about. And I think like that is what led us all into crypto, right? Whatever direction or whatever point in the world you came from, I think we all have like a shared experience of we wanted something better, we saw an opportunity, and we knew that it was our opportunity to seize. And so I think everybody across the crypto spectrum, wherever you come from in the world, like we have that shared experience of like I can make a better life for myself and a better life for my family if I get into this industry and if I work hard. And I think that's, the movement community is proving that day after day. And I'm so proud because like that, like I said, we had nothing to do with that. And we're thrilled about it. It's incredible. Shout out to Gorillas.
Yeah, was a. I mean that's exactly even one part which was similar with what you just described. Like there was a. We just started somehow, and same was with the gorillas itself. Just someone. It was Gorilla Leon who first put his PFP as a gorilla, and yeah, it was like a wave.
Yeah.
Like
And our job is to like, and I think this goes out to any ecosystem building, right? Like we have success when we see that kind of talent and natural spontaneity emerge. It's our job to encourage it and to support it. And so we didn't create gorillas, but we support gorillas however they need support, and that goes for everyone in our community, right? Like if people want to build or people want to innovate or people want to take the initiative, it's our responsibility to help them however we can. And I recommend that for any ecosystem builders like in this industry. Like if you see talent, don't like push it down, don't ignore it. Even if you don't like see the vision, like help the vision be curated, because who knows where the girls are going to end up. They could end up bigger than movement, and there might be a community that spawns out of the movement that hasn't come to be yet that could be bigger than us all. So I think that's a big part of community building people don't understand is like you
yeah,
don't have control, and you need to like accept that and nourish that and let them take control. That's what decentralization is all about.
yeah, and I think actually this concept resonates not only in the Web3 space but in leadership at all. Like, how can you find and identify the best talents people have and make them grow? So yeah, but especially in Web3 communities, it's of course a
Oh, and
big
shout
deal.
out for
Yeah,
Coop and Rushi, dude. They do that so well. They gave me the room to fly. You know, I've been trying to do this my whole career, and I was getting
yeah,
laughed out of offices and ridiculed. And Rushi and Coop were like, you know what? Let this pink haired. At the time, I had pink hair and I was blonde, but they're like, let this degenerate run,
yeah.
and it worked.
Yeah, but I mean, that's again the other question, like what's degenerate or what's not normal. You know, everything has like its own skills and strengths and weaknesses. So, but you have to identify how to get them the best way to play.
That's right. I think,
Yeah,
dude, and you just hit the nail on the head, man. They let me play. Like,
yeah,
I think that's like the beautiful part of our industry is like if you're having a good time, those projects succeed. We're seeing a huge success on Solana right now, and a lot of it is because these people are having a blast.
yeah.
And so we're trying to curate the same way. Like we take our jobs very serious, but you got to be lighthearted about it.
Yeah, and you already said you supporting the Gorilla Movers as well. Do you see the Gorilla Movers to evolve to something more beyond as just being a meme community into something bigger?
I think that's totally dependent on what the GorillaMoverz want. I mean, like I said, we're here to support whatever people want. Like if there was a guerrilla mover that wants to run for office in their country and they want to create social change, we're here for it. Like if they wanted to go the route of being an artist community, or they wanted to go the route of building their own product in a decentralized, in a democratized way, like we're gonna support however they want to go. But who's to say? I mean, I'm very curious. Where do you think it's gonna go?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really answer that exactly at the moment because I think at the moment the opportunities and the chances are like going in each direction. So I think the way how we grouped together and how we formed without any like structure from above gives a lot of potential. And yeah, of course we have like some funny plans, like I don't know, bringing Gogo, like the mascot, to as a plushie to to Walmart or something, and I mean, everything is possible.
Mhm.
But of course, we are thinking about other stuff, putting on chain, like setting up an DAO, and yeah, then let's see what's happening. But
I can't wait to see that. I
yeah,
can't wait.
so yeah. But as I said, and I think that's a really cool part about being in the crypto space, and especially having a community like that, which you just described. People getting together, having a same idea, and putting that into work. And as we just said, just play. So yeah. So let's see what time will tell. But yeah, as you as our specialist and head of marketing at Movement, could tell us maybe what do you see, or how do you see marketing in blockchain technology at all? Like, is it like different to, because you said you were in other industries? Is it different? Is it maybe somehow other challenging?
I think one thing I've noticed is that all industries function somewhat the same. Like everything is relationship based. Everything is about like, who's going to empower you and who you know. I think the main difference I've noticed between like blockchain, crypto, Web3 marketing, and whatever else other marketing out there is, people are a lot more receptive to like being creative and being individual and being unique and authentic. A lot of like Web 2, industry marketing, etc., it's very rigid in the way that they want things to function, how you present, how you act, and how you walk. Like it's very regulated. And crypto's kind of just like, just do your thing, let's see what happens. I think there's a lot of freedom in this industry. I mean, it's the closest thing we have to a free market, and I think that goes for marketing as well. Which is why anytime I meet someone in marketing or in a creative field outside of this industry, I tell them to get in here and leave their old world behind, because it's just the most. It's difficult. I think this is the hardest I've ever worked in my entire life by a large margin, but I've never wanted to work this hard before. And the times that I worked anywhere close to as hard, it was reluctant. I didn't want to do it. I was forced to do it. Now it's like I choose to wake up early and I choose to go to sleep late and I choose to work my fucking ass off. Excuse my language, by the way.
Oh,
But
good.
it's an honor and it's a privilege. And I think
it's,
that's the big thing about
it's a
crypto marketing. It's
permissionless
like,
podcast.
yeah. Yeah, okay,
So
cool.
you
It's
can
like,
say what you want.
all right, bet. I bet. Yeah, I think it's just it's like a playground for a marketer. Depending on the job that you have, I'm sure there's some Web 2 oriented marketing happening, but this is the most free I've ever been to do what I want to do and express myself how I want to. And I think that's is proven the thesis. We're doing quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, actually, I have one question which I think you already more or less answered, because yeah, I wanted to ask you how do you simplify like the messaging to different potential users and developers in that area? Because I mean, it's quite a complex concept at all. Um, yeah, I would say you already answered it by yeah, letting different people in different areas play. Like you said, Rushi is maybe more on a technical area and others on others. Or would you add something on that?
No, yeah, I think you put it right where you just have to. I mean, look, you can provide a framework for people to express themselves how they want to, but I also think like there's a degree of education that's required in what like a marketer's role is. So there's different modems that we have to or modules that we have to communicate this in. So there's highly technical, there's like intermediate technical, and then there's beginner. There's traders, and there's speculators, and there's artists, and there's retail, and there's developers. So there's a lot of different messages we have to get across, and that's part of like the creative problem solving. I think is why this job is so rewarding. It's also why it's quite difficult because if I say something highly technical, it's going to go over the head of somebody who has no experience coding. In the same way, if I say something that's incredibly basic, like if I'm teaching you how to set up a wallet, it might hurt our brand authenticity with someone who's already you know farming different chains. They're like, why are you teaching me this? It just depends on the message in the moment. But I think if you ignore any community or any audience, then I don't want to go so far as to say you failed, but I think that you didn't understand the assignment. Everybody is welcome. And so your messaging has to be inclusive of everyone. And I think that's how you do it. You just have to create a content calendar and create a strategy that on Monday you're going to appeal to the highly technical, and on Tuesday you're going to appeal to the not technical, on Wednesday you're going to appeal to your grandpa, and on Thursday you're going to appeal to your nephew, on Friday you're gonna appeal to your twin, and then Saturday, Sunday you're gonna like let the tie loose and go for the degen crowd. Like it just you got to just try to hit every angle that you can and hope that people understand that that's what it's about.
Yeah. So would you say, like, from also from a marketing perspective, movement is for everyone, or like for
100%. I think the best movements in the world are movements that do not close the door on anyone. That's why I don't totally understand like capping a community. Like I think NFTs have a difficult time because they have a set number of NFTs available. It creates scarcity, which creates hype, but then
yeah.
it's forever exclusive. And then the best movements in the world are ones that keep their doors open for everyone.
Nice. Best answer, I think. Um, yeah. So I think quite close connected to this topic, because we said it's like the audience is everyone. Is I think the topic mass adoption is a topic which is still a big one in the crypto industry. Does movement have like special key milestones or plans for the future, how to work on the mass adoption?
I There's things that I'm cooking in the background, but I think this is where I'm grateful that I've worked in other industries, right?
Mm,
I worked in music, worked in TV and film, worked in the government. All of these different industries could benefit from this technology. It's just finding the right way, just like with our content online, it's just finding the right narrative to convince them this is worth their time and effort and participation. I think those areas that I just mentioned, which is essentially entertainment and state and government, and people can say what they will about state and government, right? Like I understand not everybody is a fan of their government. I totally get that. Part of the reason this exists is like there is authoritarian governments that we're like fighting against with this technology. But I think if we can onboard them, just like we've onboarded everyone else, we're seeing a bit of that in the US right now. That's how we hit mass adoption. That's how we get the world on chain. Is that like we can't ignore the powers that be. Otherwise, there's always going to be this divide. Like I can't wait for a day where local elections are being, held through DAOs. When we have decentralized voting systems that are affecting, the way that we pay our taxes, for example. And like this is super far out. I don't think this might happen in our lifetime, but I'm trying to lay the foundation with movement to like go back to these industries and go back to these institutions and these foundations and be like, look, we can make your life easier. We can make the world better. You just got to put this on chain. Then you got to join us in the future. Stop living in the past. I liken it to think about when the printing press came out or when the internet started and people were like, I don't want to use the internet. I got a fax machine. What do I need the internet for? And somebody's like, dude, you can email someone. You don't even need to use paper, which means we can save trees. We can help the environment and it'll get to them instantly instead of having that crazy dial tone and having to send a piece of paper across the world and they have to have this cumbersome fax machine. You can just send them an email to get it instantly.
yeah.
There were people resistant to that, but now, you look back and those people look crazy. I think the same will happen with on-chain technology. Eventually, everyone will be on-chain, and I hope movement helps facilitate that. So we have plans. I just can't talk about all of them right now.
Yeah, of course not. And I think we will get to hear it as soon as it's possible or official. But I would be interested maybe in one point, because that's one which actually is for me or myself still one big issue which needs to be covered by Web3. Like, how can we get all of those Web2 people? Or I mean, it's maybe too hard to differentiate in those, but I think we have still a big mass of people sitting on the old infrastructure, which we have on, I don't know, maybe social media, but you also mentioned television, government, and so on. And how can we get them away from using those technology, which is like part of their daily lives? Is that something we can change with movement as well?
Yeah, I think you hit on something perfect, right? Which is like how do we get them to do it? Well, we have to improve their daily life with this technology, right? So you use social media as an example. The only way we're going to get people to like leave Instagram or Twitter is if you can provide a socialfied app that's just better. Better UI, better user experience, better vibe. You know, it just needs to be better. It just that's how every great innovation has ever happened, is that to improve the quality of life in some form or way. I think Facebook is a good example of this too. Like people weren't using social media really before Facebook, but then they realized like, oh, I can poke that person that I really like online. I can send them a poke or I can send them a DM. I think AOL Instant Messenger was the first experience I had where it was easier for me to talk to girls because I could DM them on a little screen, and it was easier than going and talking to them in person.
Yeah.
So it improved my life. You know, now I'm having interactions with the opposite sex. For me, that was a big deal. You know, so I think that's the way that people need to look at it. Is like, okay, if we're building in a certain direction, how do we improve their life? And if you achieve that, Polymarket's doing this right now, right? People can make predictions, and if their predictions are right, they're getting financially rewarded for it. So you just got to improve the life quality, and then it's just off to the races. And sometimes it doesn't improve their life. It's like artificially improved, you know? It's like playing off dopamine. But
Yeah, definitely. And again, on that point, I think the better the community part is, the easier it is to like switch the technology. Because I think like the true base layer we all have is like the human interaction, and if we can build on a huge community, yeah, the other part can be yeah, simplified.
no question. And the negatives that come with it can also be ignored. Like I spend a lot of time on the internet. Not everything about that is good, right?
No.
But I've learned a lot. I've met incredible people. I have a wealth of experiences that I wouldn't have. I have a job because of the internet. I got to meet you because of the internet. So like the sum total positive is higher than the negative. And I think that's a way that people can look at it too. Like there's always going to be drawbacks. Like we work in the Web3 crypto industry. There's a ton of scammers and grifters that are in this industry because it's a free market. I can't change that reality. That's just a part of life that I have no control over. But the innovations that are happening and the community building that's happening, all the positives that happen in this industry far outweigh the grifters and the scammers. And we're going to become self regulating. Eventually, those people will fall by the wayside. But you got to take the good with the bad. And I think eventually the world will see that. I think it's unfortunate because I think the world kind of still sees us in this negative light, but eventually, because of the raw innovation, because of the quality of community, because of the wealth effect, eventually the world will see like this is just undeniably the next great leap into the next digital age. So it's gonna be exciting.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I'm really happy to be part of that journey. Yeah. Um, at that point, I would like to give a shout out to my little community at the moment. And as always, I give them the chance to also give some questions to my guests. And in that case, I got a question which refers quite nicely to what we spoke about. And the question is asked by Gorilla Tomius. Hello, let's imagine for a moment that movement went into release, the TGE happened, and everyone is happy. What are the next steps for the projects? Where do you see the project in a year?
Ooh, great question. That's what I pray for, is that everyone is happy. So thank you, Gorilla Tomia. So where are we in a year? In a perfect world, dude, I'm, lobbying for blockchain rights to be more established. I live in the US. I think we have a flawed regulatory system. So I'd like to be speaking with, you know, government, local and federal officials and convincing them like you need to be helping us innovate. You need to be giving better, first of all, better laws, better tax incentives, just creating a better environment for us to build this industry. and then encouraging our community to do the same where they live as well, and just kind of lighting the fire in the real world, in person, for us to bring this digital age out into the world. So that's one. Two, I want to onboard the entertainment industry. Like I said, I want to see content creators that are on TikTok and Instagram right now on socialfi dapps, and educating their consumers and their fans about like how sick Web3 is. I want to see where the gorillas are, the GorillaMoverz, in a year. I think they're killing it. I think they're hosting their own global events, and they're in Walmart. That would be awesome to see in a year. And I see the movement community, being strong, being even bigger than it is today, and being a powerful player in the industry. That would be the ideal, and everyone's still happy a year from now.
Yeah, a great vision, and yeah, hopefully we will see it come that way. And yeah, I mean, we are still on the testnet phase, mainnet up to come. But yeah, hopefully in a year we have a nice point at which we can look back. And if I do the same at the moment and looking like in the beginning of the year, it was already a insane and incredible journey for me. Not only for me, I think for the most people who are like active parts of the community. And yeah, at that point, I would give you, Will, some chance to give a shout out to the community, tell something you always wanted to tell them, and yeah.
All right, well, I'll say this. I'll go back to the last question. A year ago today, we had about 3,000 followers. We had just come out of stealth, and we were just trying to let people know what the movement was. Today, I think we're at 775,000 followers. We're on testnet, and we're working on mainnet. So look at what 1 year can change. I think if I could say anything to anyone in the community, first of all, I'd say thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Like, thank you to the Movecast, thank you to the GorillaMoverz, thank you to our ecosystem, thank you to everyone in the community. From the bottom of my heart, like, we wouldn't exist without you all. So thank you, everybody. That would be number one. Is just gratitude. I mean, my career, my livelihood, my position in this industry, and our position as the movement is 100% because of everyone in our community. So I'll start there. And the second thing I would say, going back to that year analogy, is there's people in the community right now who probably aren't in a great place, who might not be happy with where they are. Their career might not be where they want to be. They might not be feeling well. Their health might be suffering, whatever they're at. They might be in a point of contention. And I look at what a year can change. Look, we talk about this too. Every day can be different, right? Like, you just take it day by day. So I would say to anyone listening to this, like, just keep going. Try to find the joy in the day, find gratitude in what you're doing, and just try to have fun and play a little more, and don't take life so serious, and just fucking vibe out and just be on for the ride. This shit is a wave. A year before movement started, I was in a very different place. We'll get into that one day. This is also my first interview that I've ever had for the movement in English. So this is a landmark for me. So everything can change in a day. Everything can change in a year, for better or for worse. So just enjoy the moment as best you can. And again, thank you to everybody. Like, we wouldn't be able to do this without you. And we're going to work our fucking asses off so that we can prove to the world and to you all that the movement is here to stay. And I give you my word, I'm going to do everything I can to bring this movement to the world, and to bring this industry to everybody that's willing to hear it. And thank you again. I can't say thank you enough. This is literally 100% because of the community. And shout out to everyone that's part of it.
Great finish, Will. And yeah, let's close this episode with these words. And yeah, as you said before, movement is for everyone, and you're building on the people. So
oh yeah, if you're not part of the movement, join. Like, please, we want you part of it.
So
thank you for this. Thank you for this, man. I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much for showing up, and G-Move and what's up.